Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie, and I am here with the legendary Stevie Moore. Right now I'm going to be reviewing his album, Games and Groceries, just reissued on CD. Stevie, what can you tell us about the album right now before I talk about it and play samples?
Well, before you play samples, it's about games, which existed long before Nintendo, and groceries,
Awesome.
which existed long before astronaut food. Bags, it's about bags of groceries.
Yes.
This was 1978 in my home.
Stevie Moore is the godfather of DIY, indie pop, an incredible singer, songwriter, musician.
But don't say lo-fi because it's low-if.
I always leave out the word lo-fi for some reason. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to review the album right now, but I wanted to introduce you to the legend that is Stevie Moore. It's the first time we're meeting, and I always wanted to record an album. I always wanted to be in a band and record an album called Our Stevie Sings Our Stevie. But
my first song would be a Muffs cover.
yeah, exactly. The Muffs.
He's gone.
And yes, that was really me and Stevie Moore, the legend that is Stevie Moore. And as promised, I wanted to talk about a brand new reissue. It's first time on CD for the album Games and Groceries. It's actually a 2 CD set. This is an album that came out cassette only in 1978. If you don't know who Stevie Moore is, he's essentially the godfather of DIY, lo-fi. He has been recording albums in his living room since, I think, the late 60s, maybe even the mid 60s. He is an incredibly prolific artist and extremely talented, yet some would find him eccentric, eclectic. Some consider him part of the outsider movement, alongside artists like Daniel Johnston and maybe even the Residents. But Stevie Moore is a unique character. He's a great songwriter, and he has just this unique angle to music. Basically, he sounds like Stevie Moore. Nobody else has sounded like him. I remember the first time I ever heard the very first Sebadoh album, I started thinking to myself, now there's somebody who has listened to Stevie Moore, because that first Sebadoh album was basically lo-fi home recordings. That sounds like they're doing the same thing that Stevie Moore has been doing for, 20-something years before that. But Games and Groceries originally came out in 1978. And what Stevie Moore does is he doesn't record a bunch of songs and then pick the best tracks from all of them and then put those songs out. Those are what the Stevie Moore compilations are all about. And the Stevie Moore compilations, there's tons of them out there. I own a stack of Stevie Moore CDs, and about half of them are compilations. And those are picking like the best pop moments. But when you listen to an actual Stevie Moore album, you're getting what he recorded. So one day he could sit down and write a great pop tune, although quirky and weird and eccentric and eclectic, which is wonderful. That's his charm. The next day he might sit down and write an instrumental, or maybe like a fiddle around with keyboard sounds. This is 1978, so synthesizers were not in vogue, but he'll create something at a keyboard, and essentially his albums are whatever he's recorded, and he releases everything. And sometimes you're going to get an album that's just all experimental. Sometimes you're going to get an album that's all punky pop. But more than likely, you're going to get something that's all across the board. Games and Groceries has songs that are country influenced, punk influenced, 60s rock influenced, avant-garde influenced. He's all over the map. Now, some of these songs I already knew because they ended up on compilations, but this is actually the first time I heard Games and Groceries. Basically 2 albums, Games and Groceries, as you can tell there. The first time I actually heard these albums, because I would never buy the cassettes, not because I didn't want to, it's just, I wanted to buy vinyl, and I had to wait until Stevie Moore started putting out vinyl for me to start buying that, and this has never been available, apart from cassette, until now. Now maybe CDR, but anyway, but Games and Groceries is a wonderful, eclectic mix of experimental and pop and just great music. Like I said, some people call them outsider music. But, back in the day, I'd put an R. Stevie Moore song on a compilation right next to Marshall Crenshaw, right next to Badfinger, right next to Neil Diamond or Tom Jones or Andy Williams. It didn't matter to me. It's just all great music. And that's how I classify R. Stevie Moore, as great music. Some people call him a genius. I'm not going to deny that. He is purely unique. One of the greatest talents we have out there, overlooked, underappreciated. But in a way, I have to throw this in there. He's not for everybody. If you're, hooked on Led Zeppelin or Top 40 or Kenny Dorham or anybody like that, you may not appreciate what R. Stevie Moore does. But all those artists that I just talked about, they play musical styles that R. Stevie incorporates into his music. So you will hear jazz influences or hard rock influences. He's truly astounding. I mean, the songs I knew off of this were The Meeting That Couldn't Be and Putting Up the Groceries. He does a very unique version of Elvis Costello's Lip Service, which I love. I also know Part of the Problem. He re-recorded that for the Glad Music album, but this version is great too. And there's short little instrumentals. It's great to hear the songs in the context of the album. The way that R. Stevie Moore originally released it, the way that he intended. So it's amazing to hear what surrounds those songs that I'm so familiar with. If you're just into unique singer-songwriters, it's really a fascinating release, a wonderful release. In the description box below, I've put a link to a video where I talk about R. Stevie Moore's CD catalog that I own, and that'll give you more of an idea of what he's all about. Really an incredible artist. Back in 1984, when I got into him, I didn't have this type of platform to talk about his music, but now I have YouTube, and I've been able to write about him as well. So I'm able to get the word out more, and I'm still, to this day, touting his talents. Anyway, here's a little medley featuring little sound bites from about maybe 6 or 8 songs. Sit back, relax, give this a listen, and I'll see you on the other side.
It's time for me to get up. What time is it anyway?
I'll make my alarm clock be quiet. I wanna sleep. I wanna dream. I don't wanna see any light, because I wanna sleep. You came along just in time. Oh, my love, you came along just in time. In time. You are just part of the problem. I must be most of the problem. I go into your mind. I open up the door. I come inside your head. I sit down on the floor. Where will I go? How will I get there? Who will be waiting for my arrival? Will it be real, or just remember you always want what you don't have? Why can't I write it? Why can't I compose like those? Why can't I write it? Why can't I write it in my hand and let you pull it down?
It's no use.
You left the motor running, but you're so attractive. Getting in some sharp practice. You better not do anything reckless. Don't believe I'm going to bed with you no more. I don't want to give you head no more. Oh yeah, I know that I appear to sound wrong. Oh yeah, I seem to come across too tough. Putting up the groceries now. We just got back from Food Town. There are still 3 sets in the Cadillac.
Talking, no talking. They put it in the roasted They won't let us talk, they won't let us walk, they must want us to fade away. No talking, no talking, they put it in the books today. They won't let us talk, they won't let us walk, they must want us to fade away.
Well, that's it. I hope that this inspires you to check out the music of our Stevie Moore. I appreciate you watching this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, to ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.